Hello, I'd like to call the Germantown School District Board of Education meeting to order, May 20th, 2024 at 7:01 p.m. Item 1A, official meeting notification, Dr. Reuter. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Item 1A, official meeting notification, Dr. Reuter.
Public notice of all meetings has been given by communication from the superintendent's office to the public, to those news media who have requested such notice, and to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Northwest Now, Express News, and West Bend Daily News. Public notice has also been posted in schools throughout the district on the Germantown School District website.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? Can you move that because we're getting a buzzing feedback? There we go. Thank you.
Chris, before roll call.
Yeah.
I will make an appointment, temporary appointment of Eric Brown to clerk for the purpose of this meeting, as ours is absent excused. Item 1B, roll call.
Ewert.
Here.
Brown, present. Barney, absent. Loth.
Here.
Medved.
Here.
Pollock.
Here.
Higginbotham.
Here.
Item 2, approval of agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Ms. Higginbotham with the motion, Mr. Pollock with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item 3, reports. A, District Administrator update, Dr. Chris Reuter.
Thank you, Mr. Newland. As we kind of get into the last 11 days of the school year, we have some big events happening in the next couple weeks. This year, for the first time, on June 6th, the Kennedy Middle School commencement will be held at the field house here at the high school so that we can accommodate all parents, additional family members, and all students at the same time for commencement at 6 p.m.
It's cutting in and out.
And then Germantown High School graduation is on June 2nd at 1 p.m. here at the field house as well. We'd like to honor Grace Wita and congratulate her, GHS senior, for winning or being nominated and winning one of the 187 School Fellowship Awards. It's a very prestigious award for outgoing seniors in the state of Wisconsin. And next fall, Grace will be attending the University of Madison. And finally, thank you to the Germantown Community Scholarship Fund. This last week, they held their annual scholarship night here in the PAC. There were over 170 students that received scholarships totaling over $100,000. Since their inception, over $3 million of scholarship money has been given to Germantown High School students. So thank you to all their great work and all those that donated to those scholarships.
Just want to take a minute. It looks like they're trying to work on the audio. Just waiting for the thumbs up. Bear with us. We appreciate your patience. I want to make sure you can hear us.
That concludes my report.
Sorry. Thank you. Item 3B, Student Representative Report.
Try now.
Thank you. Just gonna hold it. Okay. Hi, this is Julia Saxman. She'll be your student representative next year because she'll be student council president. So, all right. Amy Bell Elementary is buzzing with activity this May, keeping the students engaged as the school year winds down. The kindergarten concert is one of the highlights, giving the young scholars a chance to showcase what they have learned this year. Numerous field trips are planned, allowing scholars to explore and expand their knowledge. But the most eager anticipated event is May 30th, when the entire school gets a sneak peek at summer vacation during their trip to Camp Minneconne. The comments are buzzing with activities as the school year wraps up. Fourth graders are enjoyed a field trip to Madison, and students completed their MAP testing. The PTA has been working hard to organize the Marathon and Donuts with Grown-Ups, formerly known as Muffins with Mom. They also went above and beyond during Teacher Appreciation Week, treating teachers and staff to massages, breakfast, lunch, snacks, and treats. Additionally, the PTA provided the gift of time by covering various duties throughout the week. May is flying by and time is moving quickly. As Rockfield winds down the school year, numerous learning opportunities and fun community building experiences await. In May, students are completing their spring MAP testing to monitor academic growth in reading and math. The final character trait focus of the year is creativity. Thanks to Rockfield staff and PTA, the school year will end with many celebrations to honor the hard work students have put in all year. Students are also working towards an all-school incentive to be their best selves this spring. When classrooms meet their goals, students can participate in a 30-minute activity of choice on May 23rd. The following week, students will enjoy the PTA-sponsored Day of Awesome, and on June 3rd, everyone will participate in the annual Camp Minneconne Day. MacArthur is buzzing with excitement. Last month, the PTA held their annual Fun Run, the school's biggest fundraising event, which was an obstacle course with relays, bouncy house, giant slides, and more. Thanks to the community support, they met their goal of raising $35,000, which will go back to the school to enhance student educational experiences. Field trips are in full spring, with second graders visiting River Edge, fifth grade heading to the Nature Center, and first graders exploring the zoo. Eagles are also holding talent show auditions for the much-anticipated event at the end of May. As the school year winds down, students are looking forward to more field trips, concerts, competitions, and the beloved all-school field day. The staff at Kennedy had an amazing Teacher Appreciation Week and are extremely grateful for the supportive PTA group. Recently, the Principals Council, composed of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, held a meeting where they discussed the school's strengths, areas of improvement, and ideas for change, and highlighted staff members who make their school a better place. It is great to give our students a voice in shaping their school experience. This year, the 8th grade promotion ceremony will be held at the high school field house in the evening, and a change everyone is excited about. We also had some fun end-of-the-year activities planned for the Crusaders. Until then, we will continue the excellent learning happening in the classroom every day. The end is in sight at GHS. The past few weeks have been a whirlwind from junior prom to senior ball to finishing AP exams. The fun never ends. Spring sports are entering championship season, so good luck to all the athletes and coaches. Clubs and activities are holding their end-of-the-year meetings and starting to plan for next year. Teachers are wrapping up their final lessons before exams begin. So best of luck to all the high school seniors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate those reports. It's nice to get that snapshot into the district. I appreciate you over the last year coming faithfully to provide those reports. It's a fantastic thing. So thank you very much, and we look forward to our next contestant. 3C Committee Appointments 2024-2025, that's myself. At the post-reorganization of our last meeting, we weigh in on what committees the board members would like to fill. We ask everyone to kind of take a position and help build and work through the district mission as we move forward. So I'll kind of go through the assignments. There's some change and there's some that are steady and staying the same. So Finance Committee, we have the Board Treasurer as Chairperson, Michael Loth, Board Member Tom Barney, and Board Member Eric Brown. Personnel Committee, we're going to have the Chairperson, Vice President Eric Brown, Board Member Tracy Pollock, and Board Member Kim Higginbotham. Policy Committee, our clerk will chair that, Tom Barney. Board Member Mr. Brown and Ms. Higginbotham will join him. Negotiations, Chairperson is myself, Brian Medved, and Tracy Pollock. That team stayed in contact as we were continuing to work through negotiations. I think we have some exciting news about that, hopefully later in the evening. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Tracy Pollock is going to chair that. Brian Medved will be assisting along with Michael Loth. We do have a community representative that is to be determined. Just a comment on that, we've been in conversations with the village board, and we're looking for one of their members to fill it as we start to explore our long-term facility use plans and how that'll fit in with village plans and development. So we think that's an advantageous place to bridge some of that communication. Teaching and Learning, Kim Higginbotham will take the reins as chairperson of that. Mr. Medved will rejoin that committee along with Tracy Pollock. Liaisons, legislative liaison, Tom Barney will remain in that position. Eric Brown will remain as our MATC representative. Kim Higginbotham will be taking over the WASB Delegate Assembly. It's attending the convention and weighing in on potential WASB agenda items. CISA 1, Tracy Pollock will maintain his position on that as a delegate. Technology, Tom Barney. I'll be taking over Marketing and Communications. And Tracy Pollock will be taking over Parks and Recreations Commission. We do believe there will be one more position added on here. We're still in contact with the village on that, and that would be around their Planning Commission. We will be looking to have one of our board members assigned to that. Myself and Village President Dean Walter have had several conversations around this topic, and having cross members between our two boards, I think we're going to really work on building that relationship as the village plans for the future. Any questions? With that, we'll move on to 3D, County Aligned School Presentation. Mr. Andy Eisenbach. This is
Test, nope, there we go. Better? Okay. Good evening. As was mentioned, my name is Andy Eisenbach. I am the principal at County Line, and tonight we brought 3 of our 5th graders with us. Given the time of the year and the transition that's about to occur with them moving to the middle school, we thought that that would be a good idea to have them reflect on their time at County Line and then share that with you here at the board. These students were chosen by their classmates to come and represent each one of their classes. 2 of our students have been with us kindergarten through 5th grade, and another one has been with us 1st grade through 5th grade. So 6 years in elementary school, which is more than they spend at the middle school, more than they spend at the high school. And for our newer students in 4K, they're actually going to be in our elementary schools for 7 years. So that's going to be half of their time in Germantown will be spent in the elementary school. So that transition is a pretty big transition for us. So with that, we're going to have our students come up and just kind of recap what they remember from their time in their elementary school. So the students that we brought with us, I want to make sure I say it right, Anthony Johnson, Robin Gabowski, and Katie Arnold. So why don't you 3 come on up, and then we'll move one at a time.
Hello, my name is Anthony Johnson, and I've been here 1st grade through 5th grade. So my favorite thing in first grade was phonics because we had all sorts of like different levels. The better you were at spelling, like the harder it was. We were only there for half the year because COVID-19 started, so we had to be inside our houses, and like they tried to like send us stuff, but it didn't really work out that well. In second grade, I was virtual because of COVID, and we wanted to stay safe. My favorite thing was all like the fun activities we could do on the computers. Since we were on the computers, we could do so much. One of my favorite activities was glow phonics. We had like this glow tool and we could draw with it. It was like neon and stuff, and it was really cool. We also got pet mealworms. Mealworms were fascinating because no one had a pet of their own. My teacher said we had to be careful with them because if we knocked them off our desks like more than twice, they would die. Knocked my mealworm off my desk a lot of times, and it lived somehow. However, our teacher told us that if our mealworm turns black, it would be dead. One day I saw my mealworm was black, so I joined the virtual call after school, and I told her, but it turned out it came a beetle, and so I was the first with a beetle. In third grade, my favorite thing was the field trip to Sky Zone and many other activities we did. We had our gym field trip that year, and we went to Sky Zone. It had like very terrifying slides because of how tall they were. The thing that we did in our classroom was like paper light making, and like it showed our creativity because we could do all sorts of stuff with stickers and stuff. We also did a wax museum, and I was Lin-Manuel Miranda, an American songwriter and actor. In fourth grade, we traveled on a coach bus on the field trip to Madison to see the Capitol building and Cave of the Mounds because they were very far away. The coach bus was very exciting because we watched movies, chilled, and talked so much. I also doodled, drew many pictures, and talked to my friend next to me a ton. In fifth grade, which I'm currently in, my favorite thing was probably Upham Woods and Wisconsin Dells. In fifth grade, we stayed in cabins and stayed up late talking. The food was some of the best food I've ever had. My favorite activity was Peanut Butter Mountain, which was run by Mr. Niles. It was a team-building activity, and it was very challenging. We also went to Adventure Rock, and I was surprisingly good at rock climbing. I completed 8 courses. Finally, everyone is excited for our final field trip at County Line Elementary to Little Cedar Lake in 2 weeks.
Fantastic, thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Robin Gabowski. I'm a 5th grader at County Line, and I'm in Mr. Niles' class. Thank you for inviting me here today to talk about my time at County Line. I have multiple memories here, so I'm going to tell you about them. In kindergarten, they made it so easy. We always got free time, and of course we got naps. In 1st grade, even with COVID starting, they still made it work. We also did a show for the 100th day of school where you got to make shirts with 100 things on them, such as 100 pom-poms. Also, I loved our field trip to LaFleur's Gymnastics. In 2nd grade, even though I was virtual, they still made school fun. We still had holiday parties and lessons. My teacher, Miss Grassi, worked very hard to make us feel like we were in regular school. In 3rd grade, I loved doing the wax museum. I dressed up as and did a presentation on Jane Goodall. I also liked writing about our fruits. I did strawberries. Also, I loved our field trip to Sky Zone. In 4th grade, I loved being able to learn fun lessons with my teacher, Mr. Wilger. One of my favorites was learning all about rocks and gems. Also, I loved our field trip to the Capitol and Cave of the Mounds. We got to see a rock sculpture of a parrot. Lastly, in 5th grade, I loved our field trip to Upham Woods. We got to canoe, have a bonfire, and even more. I also loved being able to go on a field trip to Adventure Rock and being able to experience the solar eclipse. In music, I loved doing music share days so I could show my talents. Another thing I loved was art projects and art. Overall, I'm very glad that I went to County Line. I will always remember the relationships that I built with my teachers and my closest friends. I will be very sad to leave, but I'm also very excited for the middle school. Again, thank you for having me here to talk about my time at County Line.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katie Arnold. I'm in Miss Suba's 5th grade class. This is the story of my elementary life, jumping into kindergarten. In kindergarten, there were little corners, the art corner and the family corner. My personal favorite was the art corner. Although my mind was small, my creativity was strong. However, I think we all know nap time was the best. Growing up into 1st grade, as I grew older, my mom prepared me to tie my shoes, and at school, I helped my friends tie their shoes too. In math, we watched funny math videos and learned videos to help us learn addition and subtraction. Moving on up into second grade, this is where I learned how to double knot my shoes. Also, when doing a math problem, my first tooth came out. It happened on one of those old wooden desks, which obviously was a hot mess. Near the end of second, my passion for reading long chapter books bloomed. Turning to the next chapter, third grade. This was a blast. We had a Sky Zone PE trip, which was a bouncing good time. I had trouble with math, but my teachers and classmates helped me along the way. Lastly, we did a wax museum, and I was an astronaut. Flying into fourth grade, we had the opportunity to write about World War II and research and present it in class. We also were able to choose a book of our choice and share our thoughts on it. Lastly, we went to a field trip to the Capitol. It was awesome. Going into where I am now, fifth grade. In fifth grade, we went to Upham Woods, where we learned survival skills, went on hikes, canoed, and more. In math, we played a fun review game called iChihuahua. We used our skills to remember what we've learned and had a blast doing so. Thank you for joining me through my years at County Line, a school that will always be remembered, the golden years, if you will. Thank you to all my County Line teachers and fellow classmates. I would have never made it this far without you.
Any questions for our fifth graders?
I don't have any questions, but you're all great speakers. Thank you for coming this evening. And the next thing I'm sure your teachers will want to hear, be lifelong learners. I'm sure you won't have any trouble with that. You've got a little ways to go yet till you graduate, but be lifelong learners, and I can tell that you're well on your way. Thank you.
Great to hear your experiences at the elementary school, and I hope you're excited about your new adventures at the middle school. I know our principal, Jess Garrett, will take well care of you. Thank you. Item 4, citizen comment. Community members, residents of the Germantown School District are invited to share their questions, comments, or concerns with the school board. When speaking, citizens should state their name and address for the record. The presentation timeframe shall be determined by the board president. Once an indicated number of people wishing to speak is made, speakers should keep comments to 3 minutes or less to allow for others to speak. Wisconsin law authorizes the school board to receive information from board members or from members of the public. Where possible, the board may answer factual questions immediately or may provide written response if information is not available. If a response would involve discussion of board policy for decisions which might be of interest to the citizens not present at the meeting, the board may place the item on a future meeting agenda. Comments that may be injurious to school district personnel or other individuals will not be allowed. We will adhere to that 3-minute threshold this evening. I'm not sure if we have the timer ready. I have, it looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speakers. I will call the first 2 up if you want to get in line behind the mic. It looks like Jan Van Hoof. I'm trying to read some of the handwriting here, so if I mispronounce, I apologize. Jack? Appreciate you.
Hello, my name is Jack Van Hoof. I live in Germantown, and I am a sophomore here at Germantown High School. I'm one of the students who proposed a soap club and was made aware of some social media comments made about the viability of the club. Our goal is to be an open format club discussing the Bible and Christian living in today's day and age. We want this club because there isn't another club at Germantown High School where students of faith can discuss these topics. We currently have about 15 to 20 students that are interested, and with your approval, we are hoping that more students will be a part of this club. Thank you for your time.
Jack, thank you. Christine Bindi, I believe. I apologize. Binder, thank you. Yes, correct me if I'm horribly wrong.
That's okay. Good evening. My name's Christine Bender. I'm here to voice my opinion and concerns as a grandparent of 2 children in the Germantown School District. I have a difference of opinion with many board members, but I hope you will listen to me and take what I say seriously. Something elected officials should do. I have significant concerns for the safety of my grandchildren and every child and teenager in the district. I am here calling into question the judgment, decision-making, and performance of the HR director. I am asking the Germantown School...
Ma'am, and just a quick reminder, if we're going to get into a potential...
I'm not
dangerous
mentioning
comments-
names.
Okay, but it's a very specific position he's sitting in the room.
Right. I am
I'm just,
asking...
if we can do it without that.
I am asking the Germantown School District leadership, the board members, and our district administrator to take a hard look at the director. The director made an offer of employment to a new teacher that had yet to graduate college. This teacher was set
Ma'am,
to...
ma'am.
I'm not mentioning names,
You're speaking to two very specific people.
but I
They're-
am
they're
not
known-
mentioning
they're known within the
names.
public.
I am not mentioning names, and it is freedom of speech. This person that was hired had 0 experience, had not yet graduated, and this is the quality of candidate he decided to hire. Here we are now 5 months later from the start of this teacher's employment, and I am not sure how many people in our
Ma'am.
community...
Ma'am, you may not be saying his name. You're speaking directly to the situation at hand. I'm not going to get into the facts and debate with you on that.
Are you telling me I don't have a right to speak?
If it's going to continue to be injurious in nature, yes.
Well, this is in regards to,
I understand what you're saying. I would absolutely entertain a conversation, but we're not going to entertain that at a public forum. Not
so
in this
it's
manner.
okay that the community didn't know about this person that was hired and what he did to a female student,
First,
and it was just brought out today.
Ma'am, I'm not going to speak to specifics of it. I would be concerned with the facts that you're think
Well,
you
the
may have.
facts
But,
are,
Ma'am, we're done. We can have a private conversation. Dr. Reuter and I can meet with you as needed. Please wait till the end of the meeting and we'll set up a meeting for you. Thank you.
I think it should be freedom of speech, and I think it's terrible that you don't allow
I
the community to speak.
I would gladly, and
No.
I would
that
gladly
you don't
entertain it if
allow
it's
me
not
to
injurious.
speak.
If it's not injurious, I'd gladly
It
allow
is
you
an
to continue.
interest to the community to know what happened, okay? And I think that we, and me as a grandparent that have children in this system, me as a grandparent, you who sits up there, you board members, should be taking into consideration why it is that we're getting poor teachers, why teachers are just coming
Ma'am,
out of high
ma'am.
school. Right.
As I read, we're not going to entertain a back
Right.
and forth. Please, either reach out or stay, and we'll set up a scheduled meeting. Thank you.
Opinions must be factual.
They are factual.
I don't
We're
believe so.
not going back and
They
forth.
are factual.
We're not going back and forth. Thank you.
Shame on you.
Jenny
people.
Hens.
Shame on you people.
My name is Jenny Hetzel, Germantown School District resident. First of all, I'd like to support the SOAP Club. I think it's a great opportunity for students, and we need more of that in our schools. Secondly, I would like to address the transparency and lack of communication that we have seen in the past week as a parent with children in this school. It is so hard to trust sending our kids off to school when this is what we're dealt, and the communication wasn't there. And we were told that for legal reasons you couldn't, but if you have reason to take a teacher out of the classroom, you should have reason to send an email. These are our kids. You should care more about the safety of our kids than you care about protecting some teacher who's possibly done something very wrong. Very, very frustrating. And I'm sure you're all frustrated too. But transparency.
Thank you. I will give, it's hard for me to read the first name, Seabach. I have a Mr. and it looks like Mrs. So Mrs.
Hi there, I'm Analia Seebach, and I'll speak for myself and my husband, Greg, who's here as well. So we're Germantown residents just speaking in support of the Soap Club, in support of some people that we work really closely with, we have personal relationship with, and just the impact that this club can have for these teenagers to have a place to feel unified with others at a time of life that can feel very isolating. As one who works with teenagers, I know that that can be a very hard place to be in, and so to have a club like that is going to bring a lot of belonging and a lot of unity for these students in a time of life that can feel isolating. So proud of the students that are a part of the club and just speaking in support of those students and the club being able to take place. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that is all we have signed up to speak. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, consent agenda. 5A, approval of April 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes, open session only for the closed session meeting. Item B, approval of April 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes, full board meeting. Item C, approval of teacher resignations. Item D, approval of teacher contracts. And item E, approval of donations. Would anyone like to pull any one of these items out individually?
I will make a motion to approve the April 22, 2024 meeting minutes for the open session only of a closed session meeting.
I think we'll do,
All of them?
yeah, if you want to do, and then we'll
Okay.
have discussion.
And the approval of the April 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes for the full board meeting.
I'll second.
Are we,
Did you want to go over
I
the
was going to do the whole
resignation?
agenda and then offer discussion,
Oh,
unless
okay.
we want to pull something out individually.
Okay. All right, well, then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Items A through E.
Yep.
Thank you.
Second.
Ms. Higginbotham with the motion, Mr. Pollak with the second. Any discussion? I believe we will have some information provided. Mr. Nowak, regarding teacher resignations and contracts, if you'd like to speak to those.
Sure. Tonight we have 3 resignations going forward. Jared Engel, mathematics teacher at Germantown High School. Lauren Kraychek, 4th grade teacher at MacArthur Elementary. And Gina Ortiz, speech and language pathologist at Rockfield Elementary. We ask that you approve the resignations of each of these teachers.
Do you have any questions regarding those? Seeing none, item D, if you would like to speak to the teacher contracts.
Sure. 2 teacher contracts being forward this evening. Megan Miller, a physical education teacher at Kennedy Middle School. This is a 1.0 regular contract, $49,000. And Madeline Eden, art teacher, Kennedy Middle School. This is a 1.0 regular contract at $47,500. Both contracts are replacing retiring teachers.
Thank you. Item E, does anyone have questions on the contracts, the offered contract? I'm scrolling down for donations. Mr. Reuter, regarding the donations?
Yep, we have a plethora of donations tonight, and I'll read those off for thank yous to those who donated to our various programs and schools. 3 and 2 Booster Club has 2 donations, one of $876.90 for GHS baseball hats, and as well as $256 for the baseball team for senior banners on our field. The Germantown Athletic Booster Club donated $1,950 towards concession stand electrical work here at the high school. An anonymous donor made a $500 donation to GHS Choir. Target donated 100 to 150 assorted towels to the Germantown Athletic Department, which I saw firsthand. They're very nice. MacArthur PTA, $2,500 to 2 motor coach buses for the 4th grade field trip. MacArthur PTA, $2,000 for an electronic piano for the music room. Amy Bell PTA, $1,975.96 for PE equipment. Amy Bell PTA, $429 for 12 cubby units within the school. An anonymous donor made $1,900.53 towards our wrestling team for their hotel stay at the state tournament. County Line PTA, $466.77 towards first and second grade field trips. 2 anonymous donations to the Germantown High School Choir of $495 and $260. And I'm going to butcher this one, but Deichstadt Heritage Foundation, $1,000 towards our high school greenhouse project in our courtyards. Thank you to all those donors.
It's amazing. Quick math, it looked like that was a little over $14,000 in donations, which month over month continues to amaze me, how much is given into the district. It's fantastic, the support the community offers. I will ask for a procedural question. As I'm scrolling through here, I was looking for a consent agenda approval. We have written recommendations for motions regarding the resignations and contracts, as well as donations separately. Do we need to hear each one of those individually?
No, you can make one overall motion to approve the entire consent
As presented?
agenda as presented.
Okay. Which is what's on the board. I just wanted to make sure before we moved on. Thank you very much for that. We have the positive recommendation in the second. Is there any further discussion?
For procedural clarity and Robert Rules of Order, I think Ms. Higginbotham made a motion to approve the first 2 pieces of the consent agenda, and Mr. Powell seconded that. For procedure, you should strike that and make a motion to amend that to approve the entire consent agenda.
So we need a withdrawal of the motion?
Yeah. It originally started with breaking the agenda apart.
Yep.
So I need to retract my second, or? Yeah,
Mr. Pollock retracts your second?
I will retract my second.
I retract my motion,
Okay.
or my motion.
Thank you. All right, making sure we get it done correctly. I will hear a motion regarding the entirety of the consent agenda, items A through E.
So moved.
Mr. Pollock with the motion.
Second.
Ms. Higginbotham with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, that passes. Item 6, Building and Grounds Committee, 6A, May 6, 2024, Committee Meeting Update. Mr. Pollock.
Thank you. Building and Grounds Committee met on the evening of May 6th. We received the work order report that covers the time period between our previous committee meeting and just prior to May 6th. That's basically a list of all of the different repairs and work done by our Buildings and Grounds crew. A few takeaways to note that ultimately the committee kind of asked for future planning. We would like to see planned items in a more formal way. We've also asked that anything greater than 60 days kind of come with an explanation, or at least a little bit more detail as far as why it may have taken more than 60 days. Regardless of the reason, we do see a lot of early requests for chairs to be set up at different locations months and months ahead of time. Those are good things, but we also are interested in those things that are just simply taking a little longer as far as why they may be taking longer. And also we would like better definition of what we would consider our internal service level agreements, like how soon should certain types of requests be taken care of. We also received an update on our long-range facility planning. Dr. Reuter had requested a long-range facility plan to help develop long-term goals and plans to keep our district facilities in a state of quality while looking to also make improvements strategically. The district wants to take a proactive approach and ultimately align with any sort of strategic direction for our facility's future state. Staff is currently drafting a request for proposal, an RFP, seeking experienced and qualified firms interested in contracting with us to provide that facility's master planning services. There's a more detailed outline within that committee packet, but generally speaking, we are expecting that the RFP process will take approximately 3 months. We are expecting a recommendation to the committee at our committee meeting in August, and hopefully go to the full board at the end of August. And pending board approval, any sort of contract that we may agree to would start in mid-September. Lastly, there were also some previous questions regarding some budgetary items related to buildings and grounds that we also addressed. We didn't have any unfinished or new business.
Thank you. Item 7, Teaching and Learning Committee, Ms. Higginbotham.
So the Teaching and Learning Committee also met on May 6th. After the Buildings and Grounds Committee, we had a couple items on the agenda. One of them was the middle school reading pilot update and resource recommendation. So along with the K through 5 elementary school pilot, we were also piloting in the middle school 2 different curriculums, HMH and then also Wonders. This kind of went under the radar for a lot of people, unfortunately, but we do appreciate all the time that the teachers and the committees put in to determine what curriculum would be best for our middle schoolers to continue their growth in reading. So this ran a little bit different just because of the number of teachers. So teachers both piloted both the HMH and also Wonders, so that they could get a feel for both of the curriculums. Study Sync came out in some very critical areas such as text quality, organization for both the teachers and the students. Student engagement was higher, rigor, depth, and then support for our teachers. So all really critical areas that were ahead of HMH. I think that'll be a benefit to both our students and our teachers. Also, Jake gave a presentation at that time, which also gave more in-depth features of the Study Sync. So if you're interested, take a look at that, but we're very excited, and we motioned with the positive recommendation to the Finance Committee to approve the Study Sync, which we'll hear later in the Finance. We also, at that time, our second item was the Kennedy Middle School revision schedule. So with the revision of the schedule, it added time to the coordinated arts and core classes, and it also allowed for an advisory time at the end of the day for students to complete their work or be able to have time for teacher contact if they had any questions, which is pretty integral to students that might have questions during the day, going home to do their assignments, that allow them to have a little more time with their teachers. And so excited to see how that works out. It gives a little more time for setup and takedown of obviously some of the art classes. And so the team that worked on that obviously put a lot of time and effort into what would benefit our students the most. So that is moved to a motion to provide a positive recommendation to the full school board for tonight to approve the 24-25 Kennedy Bell schedule.
That comes with a positive recommendation, does not need a second. Do I have any discussion? I do. Mr. Mizniak, and I know Ms. Garrett, you're here as well, maybe you could speak to it. We've received some communication from some members in the building of displeasure in some of the moves that were made. Can you speak to the process? And I know we covered this in the committee meeting, but I'd like to cover it here again. Some of the process and where this came about and who was all involved.
Absolutely. This stemmed from kind of when Jess Guerin assumed the position of principal at Kennedy. She took the time to meet with individual staff members, anybody who wanted to have a one-on-one with her, and she had conversations with them about the things that were going well at Kennedy and, what are some of the things that she could potentially improve upon or look to improve for Kennedy. And one of the themes that came out of those discussions was the Kennedy Bell schedule. So in a number of the one-on-one interviews that she had, this was a theme that popped up. So Jess had requested that we take a look at that, and we formed a committee. Jess opened up the opportunity for any staff member to be a part of that committee, and we looked for broad representation. So we looked for teachers at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade levels. We looked for teachers of coordinated arts. We looked for special education representation, guidance counselors. Am I missing anybody? So it was a broad team with wide representation from each department area, grade level, and key areas at Kennedy. So we took the team through a couple of protocols to determine what were the strengths of the current schedule, what were the areas that we needed improvement, what were some of the big areas that we should look towards as these are the must-haves in a new schedule, so that we made sure that we could positively impact kids. So we took all of those key priorities that came from teachers and aligned that with best practices in terms of what we needed for teaching and learning and the use of curricular resources in classrooms, minute allocations, what works best for things like math and literacy instruction. And then we built several iterations of schedules that we could run by that team. And then that team looked at each one of those to identify, what are some potential barriers or what are some potential strengths with each one of these schedules. As I said at the Teaching and Learning Committee, we never had the point at which we thought we had the perfect schedule. What we did was we identified those key priorities and then created a schedule that were aligned to those key priorities. And some of those key priorities were what's best for kids, what's best for these learning environments, what's the best match for minute allocations and subject areas, as well as what are the ways that we can continue to meet the needs of Kennedy teachers and what they requested in terms of their schedule. So again, Jess and I have tried to listen to any of the concerns that have come up with the schedule in terms of where certain classes might be placed within the schedule or where coordinated arts might fall in relationship to lunch. And every time that we've come up with, here's a potential barrier, we've looked for solutions to do that, and we employed the team to help solve some of those problems too. So we listed, here are all the potential barriers to this new schedule. What are some of the solutions that we have? And the net result of that is, even with those barriers, what we've done is we've increased minutes for students in core instruction, we've increased student time in science and social studies, and we've increased time in coordinated arts. And really, when we look at the benefits of that for our students at Kennedy, I think any of the barriers that we have are all workable to achieve that net result of increased minutes for instruction for our kids.
Just a couple of follow-up questions then on that. The biggest difference that I see in the schedule is the removal of IDR and SAS, which usually bracketed lunch, kind of creating a long, not unobligated time, but undirectly engaged time with the students. Can you speak to the benefit of removing those and keeping it more structured?
Yeah, so two of the primary goals of SAS and IDR were to provide students an opportunity to get help when they needed support in a curricular area or they wanted to see a teacher to work on a project. And then the other piece of that is to provide students a time to engage in some sustained reading. One, when we increase the amount of time that students are spending with their instructor, the number of questions that we anticipate that they will have will decrease. But then the other piece of it is, in some of the subject areas where you anticipate more homework for students in English language arts or in math, we've shifted some of that time back to that core area so that they can work on that work in the presence of their teacher so that they can get the appropriate feedback and support that they need to progress through. So even though it looks like there may be less time that is allocated for students to do homework, it's now placed in a place where they can do it in in an environment where they can receive the appropriate support. And it's more of a deliberate practice where they can develop a more durable understanding of what they're working on. They still have that time to get support. So for our middle school kids who are listening at home, I'm sure you're there. They still have some time at the end of the day where they have that opportunity to meet with a teacher and get some of those questions answered at the end of the day. And then ELA minutes have increased too, so that reading time, again, we can put some more structure around that to happen within a literacy class so that a teacher can provide a focus for that reading and support students while they're engaging in that task. So even though that time has been removed in the middle of the day, it's been allocated into class time so that it can be used more effectively.
So that was going to be my follow-up. We still have some time in there for these students to say, hey, I'm having troubles at X, can I go meet with?
Yep. And that was one of the priorities that the group had come up with, is to say this is something that we know that's important, that in middle school it's important for students to be able to work with their teachers in that manner. So we wanted to make sure that that time was still there for students. There was a lot of discussion around, do we have it at the beginning of the day, the middle, or the end of the day? And the team almost unanimously picked the end of the day as the most appropriate time for students to have that extra support.
Previous 2 years I spent on teaching and learning, sharing that, a lot of discussions with you around educational outcomes and how we can improve it. Do we believe the schedule leans into that or achieves that?
Yeah. So a structural change that's related to a schedule, I can't guarantee that when we give 90 more minutes to math, that all of a sudden you're going to see an increase in math instruction. That's not necessarily how it works. However, if we are creating the conditions for deliberate practice for students, then we're using that time more wisely, then absolutely I would say you're increasing the potential for educational outcomes for kids. And I think in this scenario, we've increased time for coordinated arts, which also impacts students' academic outcomes when they're able to engage in some of the classes that they enjoy the most. They're going to enjoy coming to school, and if we create those conditions where they're enjoying coming to school, then their overall performance in all curricular areas is going to improve. So again, I don't want to make the correlation that simple structural changes are what's going to lead to improvements, but the way in which we use those minutes, if we're using them in an effective way, then absolutely that's going to increase outcomes.
I would say it's probably a part or a step in that.
Correct.
direction, right, in concert with what that time's now being used for.
Absolutely.
Do we have any concerns around facility capacity with the scheduling?
One of the questions that had come up was the use of gym space for physical education. So that facility management part, I've talked with Jess, and there are some ways in which we can schedule classes. There are some physical education offerings that we have that have lower numbers that you can strategically place those that, in terms of facility use, I think we're going to be okay in terms of how we offer those classes.
2 gyms?
With two gyms, correct.
Anyone else have any questions? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Thank you. Item 8, we get to the long portion of the meeting. Finance Committee, Mr. Lopes.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met on May 6th at the district office. I was reminded that it's been a while since I used the term Cliff's Notes. The meeting was about an hour long, and we're going to do the Cliff's Notes version here. The whole board was present for the Finance Committee meeting. The whole board does not vote. They're not required to be there. Pretty much just the 3 members of the Finance Committee meeting. So really the whole board knows what's going on here because they were there. So we'll go through this as quick as we can. First item is full board item 8A, committee meeting update. We approved vouchers, and there were no questions for the vouchers. I think we surprised Brittany a little bit on that. Next item, we went through Brittany's variance report. We are $1.29 million more spent this year than last year. I, of course, as a taxpayer, asked why, and the answer is wages and benefits are higher, so that's why expenses are up a little bit over last year. Next item we talked about was GoFan sponsorship program, and basically this is currently the district works with GoFan to offer visitors the opportunity to purchase their athletic event tickets virtually, and there was no action on that evening. Next item is full board item 8A. This is GHS soccer shelters, and, 8B. This is GHS soccer shelters. Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the full board to approve the purchase of 2 shelters for soccer field from Keeper Goals in the amount not to exceed $24,500 funded using Fund 21 donations.
It comes with a positive recommendation. Does it require a second? Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes.
Okay, full board item 8C, Yamaha Grand Piano. Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the full board to approve the purchase of a Yamaha Grand Piano C7X from Heartland Piano in the amount not to exceed $52,400, funded using Fund 21 donations and Fund 80 Community Service Fund.
Comes once again with a positive recommendation. Doesn't require a second. Any discussion?
I will just mention that there is, as part of our PAC advisory committee, there is a bullet point or piece of that coming up where we are talking about a piano event to focus and to highlight this new piano.
Fantastic. Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention there were $20,100 in donations towards that piano.
Once again, never ceases.
A huge number.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. No further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Okay, full board item 8D, E-rate network and battery equipment. Bring forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the Board of Education to purchase E-rate network and battery equipment for up to $109,072.16 based on funds available from CDWG as the winning bid for the RFP.
Comes forward with a positive recommendation. Doesn't require a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to just mention quickly that's for 138 access points dating from 2015 to 2016 that need replacement. And there are batteries in there to take us from 2.5 minutes of battery backup to 47 minutes of battery backup. So quite the improvement. That's all I have.
Any other? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Okay, next item is full board item 8E, 2024-2025 district copy paper purchase. This is for 21 pallets of white paper and 3 pallets of colored paper. Motion to move forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to purchase white and colored paper for $30,192 from Contract Paper Group as the winning bid for the RFP.
Comes forward with a positive recommendation, doesn't require a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Okay, next item is full board item 8F, CISA 6 Math Center Agreement. And this was to address learning loss. A plan for professional development was developed with CISA 6 Math Center to increase our capacity to respond to instruction. Motion to approve a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the Board of Education to the proposed agreement with CISA 6 Math Center for an amount not to exceed $29,300.
Comes forward with a positive recommendation, doesn't require a second. Any discussion?
One last item I'd like to add is these were ESSER dollars that we are spending for this.
This is lost learning?
Yes.
That's what it's fitting under for ESSER dollars?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Okay, next item is full board item 8G, Chromebook purchase. Motion to approve with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee the purchase of 120 touch screen Chromebooks, corresponding Google licenses, and 4 charging cards from BDJ Tech for an amount not to exceed $47,170 using Common School Library Aid.
Comes forward with a positive recommendation, does not require a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Okay, next item is full board item 8H, roof replacements. Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the full board to approve the replacement of Rockfield Roof Section C3 using Performance Roofing in the amount not to exceed $72,764. MacArthur Roof Section C using Langer Roofing in the amount not to exceed $72,300 funded out of the Capital Improvements Budget, Fund 41.
Comes forward with a positive recommendation. Does not need a second. Any discussion? What's our favorite? How much acreage of roof do we have? I always like to hear this number.
Okay, yeah, the
It's impressive.
story on roofing is we've got about 25 acres of roof, and we would like to do at least 1 acre or a little bit more than 1 acre, excuse me, every year. So we're on a 20-year cycle to make sure that our students do not have water dripping on their heads in a rainstorm like we had today.
The rainstorm, not the dripping on the head.
Right.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Okay, next item is full board item 8I, asphalt repairs and replacements. Bring forward to the Board of Education with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to approve the asphalt mill and pave full depth on County Lines North Lot using All Pro Asphalt Paving, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $111,659 funded out of the Capital Improvements Budget, Fund 41.
That comes forward with a positive recommendation, does not need a second. Any discussion? No acreage on our parking lots.
No acreage, but
It's a lot.
the base is going to be replaced also, which, might be in real bad shape, for the era that was originally put in.
Sure, I think we've experienced that with some of the other.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Okay.
opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
And the last one, full board item 8J, middle school reading resource recommendation. Motion to move forward with a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee to the Board of Education to approve the Study Sync resource by McGraw-Hill and the 6-year agreement for an amount not to exceed $150,047.77. The approval of the Study Sync resource shall include all components essential to meeting Wisconsin ELA standards and excludes standalone SEL lessons until an SEL review is conducted to determine the lesson's utility and alignment.
Comes with a positive recommendation, does not require a second. Any discussion? I would like to take the time just to thank all of the staff that were involved in the process. This mirrored, or closely mirrored, our elementary review process. I'm glad we were ahead of the curve on this. It got us out in front of some of the Act 20 changes. We were able to take advantage of some of the opportunities that provided us. I'm excited for the building of the vertical alignment between our elementary schools into the middle school. We've discussed that at length with some issues that we've had in the past regarding that. This is a long project and process. I understand that. I think some people may or may not have gotten frustrated with that, but I appreciate them hanging in there and just understand this was a staff-driven process with us hearing recommendations and building out understanding. Jake and his team did a fantastic job with that. So thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
That's it for finance.
Fantastic. Item 9, new business. Discussion action to approve the 2024-2025 Board of Education meeting schedule. That would be myself, and I have to we have a few motions I have to get through. As we look at the schedule in the packet, there was some discussions and considerations and changes that have been made this year to our approach to it. You will see full board meetings along with committee meetings. They will remain opposite Mondays for now, with the ability to move committee meetings as needed. I'm going to kind of stress that side of it. A lot of the discussion around the new framework of the schedule was which Mondays of the month we have, being cognizant of the villages meeting second and fourth Monday and with an additional fifth as needed. We wanted to alleviate some of the congestion and allow our community members to attend both meetings, as well as potentially cross-board attendance as needed. So we are looking at primarily the first and third Mondays of each month for meetings. With the third Monday would be the full Board of Education meeting, and the first attended for committee meetings. Does anybody have discussions on that? Seeing none in that, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 board meeting schedule as presented.
A second.
Mr. Pollock with the motion, Ms. Higginbotham with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Item 9B, discussion and action to approve administrator contract, County Line Principal effective Chris Reuter.
I'm going to ask Mrs. Kelly Schultz to come to the microphone. You as a board had the opportunity this evening, prior to the meeting in closed session, to talk with Mrs. Schultz, who is our recommendation this evening from myself to you to become our next County Line Elementary principal. Kelly was a part of a pool of approximately 32 applicants. She rose to the top as one of our finalists. We included teacher feedback in a listening session at County Line to understand the attributes they're looking for in their next principal, as well as we sent a parent survey out to parents of 4K through 4th grade students at County Line. We had over 150 responses, which is pretty incredible, to rate for us their 4 attributes they would believe would be the most successful for the next elementary principal at County Line. From there, after screening candidates, we brought Kelly in as one of our finalists. She conducted herself in 2 one-hour interviews, one with County Line staff that was led by Mr. Miziak, related to instructional leadership and management of school, and then a second interview room that I led with 8 County Line parents. Mr. Ewer was a part of that, and some other district administration, to answer questions about how Kelly would uphold the areas that the parents rated as strengths that they want to see in the next principal in a 30, 60, 90-day plan. From there, after reference checks and speaking with Kelly for about another hour on the phone and asking her some follow-up questions based on the debrief of both rooms, we brought her on site to County Line last week and had her visit the school, stop in classrooms, talk with students, talk with teachers, office staff, and we're confident that through all of those interactions and getting to know Kelly with her background as a kindergarten, 1st grade teacher, an interim principal at an elementary school she served at, as well as an instructional coach, her deep knowledge of best practice in instruction, and her strong skills in communication and relationship building, that Kelly is the ideal fit for County Line and the Germantown School District. I'll just share with you her references characterized her in 3 ways: an enthusiastic leader, a champion for all students, and a great communicator. So with that, I recommend Kelly Schultz as our next principal of County Line Elementary.
Fantastic. Does anyone have some questions or discussion? Ms. Schultz, you're here. Would you like to
Thank you so much for having me. I think it worked out well tonight to see the County Line kids here, so I got a glimpse of what they have gone through at County Line, so now I know coach buses are a must. So no, it was great to see them and be here for tonight too, and I'm just so honored to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to have you, assuming that's how this will go, but it was great to talk to you in close. It was great to sit in your interview process, and your ability to command a room was fantastic. It really was a breath of fresh air in that manner. So I'm excited to have you join the team, so to speak.
Thank you. I was telling Chris, maybe it can be August tomorrow, because I'm so ready, so thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Hold on, we gotta make the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Which I will do. Motion to approve the contract presented and hire Mrs. Kelly Schultz as the principal of County Line Elementary School.
I'll second.
Mr. Pollock with the motion, Mr. Brown with the second. Any discussion? Thank you for that. I truly am excited for this candidate to join the district, clearly. One thing I did forget, I want to thank everyone that was involved in that process, from the staff weighing in and giving us the information, what they needed. We can't do that without that provided feedback, and families and parents being involved. The amount that information we received from the survey is fantastic to have that input and truly make it a process around some of these key hires. So thank you very much. Anything else?
We haven't voted yet, but welcome to the Germantown school system. Mrs. Kelly Schultz did go through a grueling interview just before tonight's evening with the board, and she did very well in the closed session questioning, so I'm certain she'll do very well at County Line School.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Anything further? Now hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. That passes, and welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
New business 9C, discussion and action to approve new co-curricular groups.
Thank you. Mr. Nowak and I are here tonight to ask for approval to add the following high school and middle school co-curricular activity groups. We have 6 total, 4 at the high school and 2 at the middle school. I'll start with the high school. The first is the chess club. The purpose of this club activity is to provide a space for students to play and increase their knowledge about chess. They would exist with a volunteer advisor and require no district funding. The second is the martial arts club. The purpose of this club activity is to bring awareness to Korean culture through Korean martial arts. Students will learn basic Korean language pertaining to Taekwondo, as well as the basic form, including non-contact kicks and punches. Students will discuss the live and live the tenets of Taekwondo, which include respect and self-defense. They would exist with a volunteer advisor and require no district funding. The third is the Scripture Observation Application Club. The purpose of this club activity is to have an open format for students to learn and question topics regarding the Bible and Christian living. They would exist with a volunteer advisor and require no district funding. And the fourth group at the high school would be the Students Modeling a Research Project Teams group, also known as a SMART team. So the SMART teams is a program for students driven by their interest in diving deeper into biomolecular science. It allows students to have an opportunity to connect with STEM in an outside-of-class manner. It's a great opportunity for students to participate in research for their interests and prepares them for post-high school endeavors. This group would need $500 for each team of 15 students, and the goal would be to have at least one team and most likely not more than 2. This group would have an advisor at $900. At the middle school, the first would be a Future City Club. The purpose of this club is to engage students in STEM through the engineering by design process, in which they showcase a solution to a sustainability issue as they create a city of the future. This group would need roughly $100 for each group's materials. The goal would be to send 2 teams to the competition, but there may be more teams in the club participating. The group would have an advisor for $700. And then the final middle school group would be a HOSA chapter, and that's a pipeline for the future health professionals, and the mission is to empower HOSA future health professionals to become leaders in the global health community. Middle level HOSA allows for 2 competitions per student. Students will potentially fundraise to help pay for the State Leadership Conference and HOSA National Charity. This group would have an advisor for $1,800. So our recommendation is to bring forward these 6 groups for the 2024-25 school year.
I have a couple of questions in regards to process for these groups. How does one start? Is it application or?
Yeah, so
who would file all that? Could you walk us through that?
Sure. So we have a district application, and students would fill out the application. Most of the times, they already have an advisor that is interested in the school system, and that person is listed on the application. Sometimes there's not, and students go and talk to some staff members who they think might have an interest in it. So it starts with the student. It's student-led, and then they seek out an interested staff member that is willing to advise the group.
So as far as the application process, that's student-led. Then as the groups, if they are approved, how does that work itself out? Is it continue to be student-led, or is it now advisor-led?
They are student-led, and then we have an advisor that oversees the groups, so it's student-led groups.
More of a chaperone base than a leadership role within it, just ensuring a safe environment and positive interactions.
Correct.
Those type of things.
Yeah.
We heard some people today speak in regards to one of these clubs, and I tend to look at these clubs in the light of anything we can do to get a student to be engaged in school beyond just the classroom, or to bridge the gap from we must go to school to we want to be there. And if this is one of those areas that we can increase that engagement and provide that for them. I think that's a positive situation for the district and for the students specifically. We've approved many different organizations, groups throughout the years. The list is actually a little staggering on how many we have. But I think we live in a world where it's not be involved in athletics. We can have a different hook and offer a different engagement for some of those students that ask that or would like more beyond that. And I think this list is a great example of listening to our student body and what they are asking for to help with that engagement. If anyone else has anything to weigh in on that?
I would just share that annually, Mrs. Unerdl, actually, congratulations, Dr. Unerdl, successfully defended her dissertation. Her annual goals in her department, because the research is very clear and we strive to exceed that, is that we want every kid involved in some type of activity beyond the classroom to build that engagement, and over 80% of GHS kids are involved. So as we bring forward variety related to Policy 5730 that allows for more kids to engage and find an interest in school, just like you heard Mr. Miziak speak this evening, if I want to come to school, I'm probably going to work harder and try harder at all aspects of school and build that perseverance. So these lay out a wide variety of opportunities for kids to engage in the school setting and beyond.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more on that scenario. I'd be lying if I was to say I'm not unaware of some, I don't know if it's opposition or just concerns that have been raised through public or social media regarding one of these groups. I would ask that those that are in that camp to understand that these students have asked for this as a part of their educational process to help them continue that buy-in we've just discussed. And it's important to them. The legal authority is there to clearly allow this to occur, and we're going to hopefully support that here in a short minute. If anyone else has anything on that.
I would like to congratulate Dr. Unerdl on just a fantastic set of after-school clubs here. I don't recall in all my time on the board seeing a better list here. It's just great. I mean, I'm kind of surprised we didn't have a chess club, for example, already. I don't play chess, but, you know, I know of the game, and I think it's great that, you know, we have such a club. Also, board member Mr. Ewert, or board president Mr. Ewert, didn't mention it by name, but I was very happy to see the Scripture Observation Application Club here listed. It doesn't mean we're violating any rules of separation of church and state or anything like that, so I think it's fantastic that the students asked to create such a club. I read the legal, transcript behind such student-led clubs, and someone like myself should not attend such clubs regularly, but I certainly would invite a invitation to the club to attend a club meeting once. If the students wanted to do that, I certainly would attend. The other items here, I just have, of course, you knew there were going to be questions about anything related to STEM. So as far as the group with the acronym SMART, what sort of things would they compete in? What sort of a competition? Do you know, Sarah, what that might be, or?
I don't know off the top of my head. It is an established organization already out there, so I could get more information on that.
It reminds me a little bit of BattleBots or something like that, but I was just curious if there was any more detail in it. That's fine. That's really all I have.
further? Hear a motion?
A motion to approve the additional co-curricular groups, funds for groups, and advisor costs as presented.
Second.
Ms. Higginbotham with the motion, Mr. Pollak with the second. Any last discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. 9D, discussion and action to approve summer school contracts with Mr. Jacob Biziak.
So tonight I bring to you the summer school contracts and offerings that we will have this summer. Last year I brought to you a similar set of contracts, and we had a discussion around potential cuts and things that we made to our programming to make scheduling most efficient. In its third iteration, we've had minimal cuts to programming this year in terms of the classes that we offered. So students were able to sign up for the classes that they wanted, and there was minimal rescheduling that had to occur. Additionally, earlier this year, I brought to you an expansion of our programming, and the classes that have been added to our our summer school programming. We have Nature and Art Explorations, which is going to run both sessions, Story Stretchers, which will also run both sessions, as well as American Sign Language. So this year we were able to expand programming for our summer school. So tonight I bring to you these contracts with the motion to approve them as presented.
Any questions? Hearing or seeing none, I'd hear a motion.
A motion to approve the summer school contracts as presented.
Second. Mr. Brown with the motion, Mr. Medved with the second. Any final discussion? Mr. Lowe.
I really appreciate seeing the elementary engineering adventures in there. Thank you for that. Several engineering appears in several different places there, so it sounds like it's going to be a great summer school program. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. 9E, discussion and action to approve certified teaching staff wage increase for the 24-25 fiscal year. Mr. Mike Nowak.
Thank you. This evening, we bring forward a request for a pay rate increase for certified teaching staff in an amount equal to 4.12%. Increases would be effective July 1, 2024, and applied to the 24-25 fiscal year. The below chart notes increased distribution amounts on 23-24 teacher base salary amounts. That chart below very specifically references salary increases for those teachers currently at $40,000 to $79,999 to receive an increase amount of $2,911.11 added to base for 24-25. Furthermore, those teachers making $80,000 and above currently would receive a $2,500 increase added to base. This process began in February of 2024 and involved multiple meetings with GEA, and the result is the increase that you see.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything? Otherwise, I do. Mr. Long.
I would just like to congratulate the negotiations team. You know, this hasn't happened in my time on the board since 2012, that the contract has been negotiated prior to the start of the school year. It's never happened before. Usually, the negotiations start mid-school year and might complete towards the end of the school year. causing Brittany Altendorf extra work, putting out back pay checks. So this being completed at this time is perfect in the sense that teachers receive full pay starting at the beginning of the school year for the 2024-2025 school year in this case. So I'm impressed. Congratulations, everybody, for coming to this point. I hope it happens again next year at this time, that we've got the same agreement with the GEA and so on. That's about all I have on it.
Thank you. I just want to get a couple clarifying. So the graph states 40 to 79.99. That 40 through the comp study has been raised to 47.5, and the prospective employees will see that bump. So the 29.11 will be in addition to, correct?
Correct.
It's fantastic. Speaking kind of along the lines of what Mr. Loth just stated, there was a couple of things that happened throughout this year that I think brought this negotiation together to come to an agreement in as quick of a manner as it did. And one being the compensation study, because a lot of groundwork and understanding, mutual understanding were built between the staff, the certified staff, and the administration, as well as this board during that process. We were allowed to show our commitment in that, to investing in and ensuring a better route for salary and benefits. But ultimately, coming off of back-to-back years at impasse, I think it was a firm goal on both sides to not have that happen again, as well as one of the biggest things I think we heard was timing of understanding this. And I think we understood on that side how important it would be for these teachers to leave the district for the summer, knowing what they'd be making next year. It would also help with them making decisions on whether they would want to stay with the district or potentially leave and look elsewhere. But that was a commitment on both sides that really came together within this. I can't say we agreed on everything all of the time, and that's healthy. There's healthy conversations, honest conversations in there, but there was a real true understanding built of each other's needs, whether it's our district management of the totality of the budget and their need as staff and a financial aspect. And I think it goes further than that, but I was excited to see this come together. I think we met twice as far as negotiation teams, but to have it come together this early and to not be at an impasse and to have common ground built was fantastic. And I really applaud the GEA's negotiation team of making that. This is my second year involved in those conversations, and very positive within that room. So thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Medved.
I will add as well, being part of the negotiations team for the last 11 years, this was one of the smoother ones that we've had. I think the communication lines have opened and cleared, a little less frothy when we go into these meetings now. I think we've committed to the teachers that we're going to keep those lines of communication open as well. We're not, just going to show up once a year and do negotiations, that we will continue the conversation throughout the year to keep those lines of communication so we don't have buildup of bad blood. I think we've built a good rapport, and the open lines of communications are there, and we'd really like that to continue. So thank you to the GEA negotiations team this year.
Thank you.
I would wholeheartedly agree with everything that's been said. I appreciate the open and honest conversations that we had. And I appreciate being on the committee. I think it's something that is important for a number of our employees, and the fact that we were able to get this done, because that was a big concern coming from them, knowing what next year for them looks like. So I'm very happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Any further? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a 4.12% pay rate increase and the outline distribution for certified teaching staff as presented for the 2024-2025 fiscal year effective July 1st, 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. I have Mr. Pollock with the motion. We're going to accept Mr. Medved with the second. Thank you, Paul. Any last discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. That passes. 9F, discussion action. 9F, discussion action to approve 2024-2025 professional technical support staff and administration's wage increases. Mr. Mike Nowak.
Thank you. Administration is seeking a pay increase for professional technical support staff and administrator groups, excluding the district administrator, in an amount equal to 1.2% over the individual's 23-24 wage. This would be effective July 1, 2024, applied to the 2024-2025 fiscal year. We ask that you approve as noted.
Any discussion? I would like to throw out there in regards to being able to get the first half, or the item E locked down, we are then able to act on item F in an appropriate manner. So we allowed this secondary set of staff to also realize what their earnings will be leading into next year, which is a continuing positive action to be able to place ourselves in. So once again, thank you for all the work that's allowed us to be at this place. If there's no further discussion on this, I take a motion.
Motion to approve a 4.12% pay rate increase for professional technical support staff and administration, excluding the district administrator, as presented for the 2024-2025 fiscal year effective July 1st, 2024.
Second.
Mr. Pollock with a motion, Mr. Loth with a second. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Item 10, closed session. Item 10A, motion to enter into closed session pursuant Wisconsin State Statute, item 119.85, sub 1 sub C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any employee. A, administration personnel planning. B, district administrator performance review.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pollock with the motion, Mr. Medved with the second. All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, sorry, roll call.
Ewert.
Here.
Brown. Here. Barney. Absent. Loth.
Yes.
Medved.
Yes.
Pollock.
Yes.
Higginbotham.
Yes.
We are enclosed at 8:39. Thank you for coming, thank you for sharing, and we will see you on the next one. It is 9:50 p.m. and I will call the Board of Education, Germantown Board of School District Board of Education meeting back into open. In closed, we're going to discuss a few of the topics that were at hand. Closed session 1A, administration, personnel, and planning. Okay, I'll call for the motion in regards to item 10A, sub 1, sub A at this time, and then we'll discuss.
I will move to approve the early retirement of Joel Farron, Germantown High School principal, effective June 30th, 2024, and post the open position of GHS principal. And also thank him for his 22-plus quality years of service and all that he's done for our district. Thank you, Joel.
I'll second that.
Mr. Medved with the motion, Mr. Loth with the second. Any discussion? Mr.
Yeah, I'd
Loth.
like to thank Joel for years of service also, and also point out that he is the longest-serving administrator in the district.
We won't go into what was discussed in closed. I think I'd like to keep this positive while acknowledging this service. I could, from personal experience, discuss a man of ethics and integrity, and I believe he brought that to the building every day. The district will have to plan around this and accordingly. I'd like the community to know that this was a conversation that took place in a positive manner, and we really wish you the best in your next leg, in your journey in retirement. Thank you.
I think maybe my 3 kids going through the high school might have been too much for them. No, thank you, Jill.
Any other discussion?
I'll just mention one more thing publicly. Over the years, I've sat in many commencement exercises, and I've admired Joel's commencement speeches immensely. And it's not just because they're on the short side, they're just impressive speeches when he speaks. I enjoyed every minute of them. That's about all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
Congratulations, Joel. We wish you the best.
Item 10, closed session, A1 sub D, District Administrator Performance Review.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve a 4.12% pay rate increase for the district administrator for the 2024 through 2025 physical school year, effective July 1st, 2024.
Second. Mr. Loth with the motion, Mr. Pollack with the second. Any discussion?
Thank you for another job well done this year.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to acknowledge. I would say it's consistent with the other actions taking place this evening. But absolutely, thank you for continuing to guide this district in a path to truly aiming and achieving what I believe we can potentially be, which is the #1 district in this state. Any other discussion? Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, I'd like to mention Dr. Reuter is an excellent district administrator. We're lucky to have him. I admire his work also. And, you know, when we're having an issue, as we're going to as a school district, Dr. Reuter always seems to be thinking ahead and have an answer. Sometimes I wonder, where is this going? And, you know, he speaks and he's got the answer. So thank you for that. I really do admire your work, and I'm very happy we have you in this district.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Any others?
We should probably roll call and get the other ones, right, the increases. Is that a roll call vote?
No.
I don't think we did.
No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that passes. I will take one final motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Pollack with the motion, Ms. Higginbotham with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that passes. We are adjourned at 9:56 p.m.